So welcome back to the channel. I am at Happy Camper here in Caldwell, Idaho, and I have one of the sales managers, Craig, who's gonna pretty much give you guys 3 misconceptions people have when they are looking at their first RV. Let's get into it. Okay. What's the social media for the dealer?
So we do a little bit on the main platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Our YouTube channel, Happy Camper RV Sales YouTube. That's probably where we're the most active. So we try to post, when we get some interesting or new inventory.
Good.
So check us out there.
And how many locations do you guys have?
We have 3, all here in Idaho. We're locally owned. So like you said, we're in Caldwell right now, kind of a suburb of Boise. We've got 2 others in Garden City, which is basically Boise. But please check us out. You're gonna be, people are always impressed at the awesome people that are at Happy Camper.
I agree. All right, Craig, so what's the first one?
So I think that one of the biggest misconceptions that we get, or something that people aren't educated about, is the power systems in RVs. And there's some things that kind of fight and work together with each other, but it's important to understand how things work. So first point, there's kind of 2 electrical systems in most RVs, a 12-volt system and a 110-volt system. There's a whole bunch of depth that we could go into on that. But just to keep it basic and simple, there's 2 systems. One is running off of your batteries, the other one when you've got shore power. Biggest difference is you can't run everything off of your 12-volt system. Some of the big appliances, microwave, TV, all of your 110-volt outlets need the shore power 110-volt source. There are some ways that you can kind of get that power off of your battery, but that's an advanced level. So for right now, just understand there's 2 different power systems, and start learning about that and asking questions to understand that more thoroughly. Right here, you can see on this camper, this is the main power connection. This is a big one. This is a 50 amp service. So typically 50 amp means that it's set up or it already has multiple ACs. But boil that all down, this thing can handle a lot of power. You have got the potential, when you've got shore power or a good generator, to do a lot with a big RV like this.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go around the RV and point out a few of the appliances in here, and Craig's gonna say whether they're gonna be 110 or 12 volt.
Yep.
Alrighty, so you said television was 110.
Television's 110. Fireplace, 110. That's 12 volt. So if you can run that off your batteries.
And then the speakers are always going to run off of that too, right?
That's right.
Good. What about...
Okay, so this one in particular, this is a really nice residential range top and oven. This one in particular needs 110. That's not the case with most RV ovens.
Okay.
But this one in particular does. That's a really nice one there.
Yeah, it's Insignia. So I'm going to ask you a question. So this is a gas and electric. So let's pretend this was a residential. Could you run this off of 12 volt?
If it was residential, no.
Okay.
So the residential fridges, same fridge that, if you needed one for your house and you went down to a furniture store or a hardware store or whatever, same exact fridges that you're going to see in there. Mm-hmm. So you need 110 volt. 110 However, volt. One cool thing though, on a lot of the bigger fifth wheels that are putting the residential appliances in there, on the fridges particularly, or at least some of them have an inverter specifically for that. So you kind of get around that problem.
There you go.
But inverters are kind of a whole deeper level.
Yeah. What about this?
Those ones run off of 12 volt.
12 volt, and then air conditions.
ACs are always 110.
And then the vent fans.
Those will run off of 12.
Last thing too, if you do have a water heater, this does have a gas side and electric side, so you can use that if you are dry camping on the gas side. If you would like more information on the electrical system, you can go online and look up the owner's manual, and this will give you the information that you need. So this kind of starts off here, as you guys can see, and it just goes through some of the systems here and it explains it. And also it has a chart down below. Now I didn't know this, but the state of charge of your battery, this is showing 12 volts. So if you do have a monitor, which you obviously would, if it shows that 12 volt, that means you're at 25%. 12.4 is 75%, and then 12.6 is 100%, or basically a full charge. And then it shows you some of the amperage for 12 volt. Like, some people don't know this, but the furnace does run off of the 12 volt And a lot of people think that you have to be hooked up for that, but you do not. Water pump obviously runs off the 12 volt too, and then it should show you a chart down below for some of the 120 volt systems here. So be sure to pause if you want to see more, and let's get to the second point. Alrighty, so we talked about power. So what's the second one, Greg?
So here's one that we see just about every day, I think every day of the year. Buying an RV is not the same as buying a car. These RVs, we've got about 300 RVs on the lot right now. None of them are ready to be hooked up to and taken home right this second. We do what we call a PDI, which means pre-delivery inspection. So when you buy an RV, it's going to go into our shop, and they've got a big checklist they go down to make sure everything's perfect in there, make sure it's just like it is on the internet or the brochure. And then we send it to our cleaning department, and they get it cleaned up. You know, we fill the propane tanks, put batteries on there for you. So the short answer is, it's not ready to go home today. We want to ask you for 2 or 3 or 4 days, you know, depending on our schedule, to get it ready.
Nice. And so you guys are probably checking the water tanks, making sure there's no leaks.
Oh yeah, on their,
awesome.
they're, I don't know how many points they've got on their checklist, but we're checking every system on their electrical, propane, the water system, all the lights, the entertainment stuff, quality, even just quality stuff, you know, trim work, all kinds of stuff like that.
That's good stuff.
Let's go in this 22 TBS. It's a pretty cool floor plan.
Okay.
I think it's this one. Yeah, right here.
So I asked Craig a question. I says, out of all the RVs you guys carry here, what is one that typically when it goes through PDI never really needs anything? And so which one is this one?
Without a doubt, Flagstaff. This is one of Forest River's premier brands. I mean, everything that we've got is the quality. You know, every year, every month, we just see an improvement in the quality. But these ones are even a step above that. We're just impressed every single day with the quality, the design, the features on these. We really like them a lot.
Nice, that's awesome. Let's go inside this one too. Okay, hold on here. Is that dual beds?
Twin beds. There's an insert that goes in the middle. You can make it like a king.
Wow. Dude, I've never seen that before.
Super cool. You know, before I had actually seen this floor plan, or before I knew about this, I always said, I wish that there was something. I'm a big outdoorsman, and I always say, like, you know, I want to cuddle up at night with my wife, but not my fishing buddy. So, like, what camper do I take? And then when I saw this, I thought, this is the perfect one right here.
Yeah, look at that. That's awesome. You have your power plugs down below. Yeah, I've never seen that before. I'm gonna have to do a review on this one actually too. And let's put this to the test. So he says this is the better quality one. I mean, take a look at the floors. I mean, like even like the trim on the ceiling here on the walls. Like it does look like it's built really well. I don't see anything hanging.
We're about 2,000 miles from the factory, so this has traveled a long ways, and we haven't done anything to it. This is the shape that it arrives to us in. This is why we like them so much.
And most RV dealers do not do anything to the RVs until they're sold. And so, yeah, I can clearly tell that this is built well. I mean, everything seems to be where it needs to be at. So the final point here, what is the biggest misconception people have about RVs that is wrong?
And not just that people are wrong, but just not understanding all the weights involved. You go around to the other side and there's a sticker on there, and it's got about 5 or 6 different weights listed. And I do this every day, and I've got to look at it and think about it. What am I looking at here? It's confusing stuff.
Yes.
Number one biggest single important weight is dry weight. So that's kind of how it ships from the factory, how much it weighs. From there, you can figure out most of your calculations that you need to do. Is my truck adequate? Stuff like that from the dry weight. Beyond that, though, you'll see weights like cargo carrying capacity, which is how much stuff you can put in there. You'll see gross weight, which is the maximum weight that this thing is rated at. So that's basically the dry weight plus the cargo weight. You'll see weight ratings for the axles. You'll see a hitch weight. All of those are important. I would say that the dry weight is the single most important one. I guess you could argue a gross, but from the dry weight you can figure a lot out.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. Any dealership that talks about that kind of stuff has like my business, because most dealerships don't want to discuss your truck, you know, but with, you know, Happy Camper here, they 100% want to make sure you have the right trailer, the right truck combination. And something that Craig was showing me, like, this is a DRV mobile suites. I did a review on this one, you guys will see it, but I didn't know this, but this has a 9-inch thick wall.
4-inch.
I'm sorry, 4-inch thick wall, and
Just like a house.
yeah, just like a house. And what is the typical on the, maybe like a regular RV?
Somewhere around 1.5 to 2 inches, depending on the make. So it makes quite a bit of difference. That, not only is that a lot of weight, but insulation-wise, both temperature and sound, it's cooler in there. It's almost 104 degrees outside right now. We were just in here, and I bet it's in the 80s or 90s, so it's significantly cooler.
Yeah, we did walk in there, and it was like probably 5 degrees cooler in here than it was in the one that we walked in over here.
Yeah.
And what would you recommend for something like this? If someone was looking to buy a truck, they say, hey, I'm going to buy this RV, I'm going to get a truck, which truck should I get?
So most of our folks that are buying stuff like this are our Riverstones, 1-ton truck, diesel usually, a 2-ton, you know, an F450, very appropriate.
Yes.
I would err on that side over the 1-ton, because this is big. We just looked at this one. Dry weight was
17.7.
Oh, that's a gross number, I think.
Oh, actually, for this one, I think it's higher on this one. The one behind us,
this one was
17.7. I think this one's 18,000 dry.
So, and that brings me to another point that I wanted to say. I have kind of a personal philosophy or rule that you should stay at 80% of your tow rating or below. You know, we see people all the time that want to be as close to their tow rating as they can be. I just don't think that's a good idea. You're going to be, you know, pushing the edge of safety, and even if you're not unsafe, you're kind of abusing your vehicle.
Wow. Yeah, and just to add on to that too, if you're I hit the bridge one time, and like they had like a really thick gap, and I remember the jolt that the trailer gave my truck.
Oh yeah.
And if I was towing my trailer with a 3/4 ton or half ton, I mean, it would have felt even worse. I mean, it felt bad even on my 1 ton. So yeah, I like what you just said, like keeping it at 80% or less. It's better to have more truck than you need than not enough truck, is what a lot of people say online. I agree with that 100%.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you could even step into, with these, we see people stepping into that medium duty size, a top kick or an international, something like that, even bigger than just a pickup that you're seeing every day on the street.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. But hey guys, listen, you see that sign, Happy Camper? I'll put their information here. This is Craig. He's one of the sales managers. He took some time out of his day to come talk to me. I'm not buying an RV today, and he's more excited and more than willing to come help me. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, 100%. He does a few videos on some of their inventory, so be sure to give him a look up as well.
And check out, we've got 2 other locations not far from here. We're in Caldwell, but you're going to be blown away at the quality of people that we have at Happy Camper. We've got 2 locations about a mile apart, basically in downtown Boise. So check us out.
That's awesome. Yeah, big inventory. Give him a look up. Thanks for the video, bro.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate it.